I just want to record the meeting. I forgot to click on it, so maybe you can share it with others who are interested. Yeah, so the content outline is telling you that, or according to the content outline, about 85% of the material is coming from the old hymn book, all right? But in the exam day, I was surprised to see like about 90% were agile and hybrid. 90%. Everybody took the exam will tell you the same. Although PMI telling us, no, it's not, it's like 50-50. It's not 50-50. Everybody took the exam will be telling you it's definitely not 50-50. It's mostly agile. I don't know, maybe in their heads it is 50-50, but the wording and the way questions are definitely agile, okay? And when I say agile, it doesn't really tell you what they're talking about. If they talk about XP or Scrum Ban or Crystal or any of the framework, it's just usually it's agile. All right. But you might say, okay, but they're different from each other. Yes, they're different, but the overall principles are the same. Every framework, they have the team, they have a like a Scrum a person, they're the developers, you know, the people who do the work. And then you have like a product owner, and then you have like in Scrum, they call it Scrum Master, or in Agile, generally, they might call them a facilitator, okay? Um, so the wording might be different a little bit, but they're the same. It's three roles usually, okay? And the principles are the same. You know, the developers are collaborators, they do the work, they plan. The product owner is mainly concerned with the prioritizing, and the scrum master or the facilitator is just making sure everybody get along and there's no obstacles outside, and they run the ceremonies really well. So these are common, okay, within all of the different agile frameworks. So don't go and kind of try and know every word in Crystal. You need to know the overarching idea of Crystal, okay? So you need to know what it looks like. What are the main uh, uh, principles of it? But don't go into a lot of details, you know? So they might be, yeah, the developers might do work a little differently from the developers in مثلا Scrum. Don't dig into that a lot, all right? Just know what developers' main responsibilities are, okay? Now, ITTOs, everybody I think will be thinking about ITTOs, and like myself was thinking a lot about them. Don't memorize them like by heart. If you did, that's fine. It's not a bad thing. If you haven't, don't. The first of all, the percentage on ITTOs, the questions are very, very, very small, very small. And out of those small percentage of questions that talk about ITTOs, none is direct, none. So none will be telling you what is the output of something or the input or the tools. None of them. If they ask you, it'd be some indirect way, and those are not many. However, you need to understand like the rough order of I mean, definitely the order of processes, but not every ITTOs, not every input output, like this is a process. You don't need to know every input in there. If you can't remember that, that's fine, okay? But you need to know um, what do they mean? Like, what's the input? There are words or phrases. You need to know what they mean, and the same applies to the tools and the outputs. For myself, I try to memorize roughly the outputs, because the output of this process is the input of the usually the next process. So instead of doing both, I just try to memorize roughly again, because I knew it wasn't big. However, sometimes you might need to know the order to answer other questions. Okay. Now, a little hint also: don't read too many books. Like, I would advise everybody to have the pen book there, but don't use it as the main method of studying, because it's just too difficult to study. Okay. What I did, I studied the head first, and then I went to the pinball, and it was a little easier to look at. What I used to focus on is like every knowledge area at the beginning is like a page that is important, and every process, like, it has a little description of the process that is important. But don't go into the input tools and outputs in the pinbook, because they're just two details. Don't study them using the pinbook. I would advise you to use like Rita or Head First or any other book to read those, because they just give you the gist of those ITTOs, and they just focus on what they think is important that you need to know. Okay, I'm just gonna give the floor to you guys if you have questions. No questions? Okay, can anybody just kind of share their journey so far? Any hints, any advice? No? Okay, anybody using a simulator?
Hello, brother.
Hi.
Hey, I have a question. The question is that while you spoke about that you prepared from the PMBOK and then the Agile Practice Guide and then other book Ritas and all, did you also go through that other book which is this? It is called the Student's Manual, which is I'll tell you what it is called: PMI authorized PMP exam prep book.
Yeah.
It's like a combined book which has both agile and like the knowledge areas as well, like some 400 pager book, if you remember. Did you cover that as well?
You mean this one? I just shared it with you. This one. Can you see it? PMI authorized PMP exam prep.
Yes, correct. That's correct. Absolutely correct. This one.
By the way,
did you cover?
Yeah, so this is in the group, I think. It's in the resources in the group. Actually, this is a very good reference. And somebody put it on the group later on at a later stage of my preparation, so I couldn't use it as a reference guide. However, I did look at it, and it's very good. I think it's very, very good. But I didn't use it because it's just too late for me to study something else again.
Okay, yeah, because I've been going through it recently, and it's I think it covers both the agile part as well as the other part. But yeah, it's like difficult to read through. It's like a 400 page, like little smaller than PMBOK, but like a little brother of PMBOK. So difficult. That's why I was checking.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how much time do you have. If you have the time, if you're just starting out, maybe it's a good idea to study it. I couldn't give you like a detailed view on it. I mean, I had a brief look and I liked it, and I thought it's like a good summary. But beyond that, I'm not sure if I can use it as a sole reference to pass the exam. I don't know if it's enough, you know, because I got it from someone in the group that they put it in there. So, but it's very good actually. I mean, the way it's written, and it combines both agile and waterfall. So it's a good book. I mean, also talk about references. Everybody, I guess, understand the importance of the agile part at the end of the PMBOK. So do study that, because honestly, for myself, in terms of agile, the information that I got only from the PMBOK agile part, which is at the end, and also Joseph Phillips, his course, like at the end of the course, is about also a couple of hours, like 2-3 hours of agile. That's all I used for the exam. And also the Scrum document. Everybody, I'm sure you have downloaded the Scrum document. Yeah, you know where you get it from, right? So I don't need to go over that, but I'll just share it with you again. Okay, so just go to their website, Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland, and it's called the Scrum Guide. And make sure you download that and you know it by heart. This is very important, because a lot of the questions, the agile questions, are mostly based on Scrum. They don't necessarily tell you this is Scrum, but it is based on Scrum. Okay. And now somebody also was saying that you can study the what's his name, Mike Griffiths, PMI ACP exam prep. Now this is for Agile certified practitioner. So this is not really for PMP, but it's mostly about Agile, so it covers the Agile. You don't have to read that, but if you have the time, or if there are concepts that you're not sure about, you can refer to that. It's a good reference. So yeah. Now I want to show you an important document that I use to study. Okay, now you probably can see this Excel sheet. Now this Excel sheet, this meeting will end in 10 minutes, so I have only 10 minutes. This Excel sheet is a free download from Varun Anand website, edu hubspot.com. It's free. Just download it. Just Google free ITTO Varun Anand. You should be able to find it easily. It's free. Now this is basically a summary of all the ITTOs, which by extension, it's really a summary of the whole book of the PMBOK. So what I did is so for example, develop project charter, all right? So here I put a note, okay? And in the note, I gave, and this is I got it from the PMBOK. I did it myself, all right? So, I did write a brief description of the process, okay? And now the inputs, if I understand the inputs, then I don't need to write any notes or whatever. So here in the inputs and tools, now the outputs, I put a note. So if you look here, as soon as my mouse hover over outputs, the note comes up, right? Now I put a note because the project charter is very, very important. So I needed to know every little thing about the project charter, okay? And I needed to know about the assumption log. It's also very important. So I wrote a note detailing all about the charter and the assumption log. For example, here, look what I wrote. Charter, purpose, measurable, objectives. Now, I did it in a summary way that I could understand it. You may not be understand it, but it's a summary way. Okay. I'm trying to summarize it. Somebody is asking me to share the Prepcast simulator. I can't because the membership expired. Okay. So you see, so I would advise you to use something like this. I can share this with you. I can send this to you. Now, if you go to my notes, you will understand. If you read the PIM book or any other book, you would know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you may not, because again, it's like quick summary. There will be spelling mistakes and whatnot, but generally you will be able to understand it. And I advise you to do the same, because the last, just before the exam, you don't want to keep going to actually, if this expired, I'll just share with you another link. If we haven't finished, I will share another link on our WhatsApp subgroup, okay? Because this is very important. And towards the end, like 2 weeks, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I stopped looking pretty much at the PMBOK, and yeah, I stopped looking. This is what I used, this Excel sheet, because it has everything on it. So I summarized everything. Like I said, you can download it from anywhere. Just Google it if you're able to find it, and then add notes. So this is what I did, and to the site, for example, and it has, here, let me show you. So this page, it has the knowledge areas and the processes. Good summary here, the 49 processes, okay? And it tells you where they are. Are they in planning or are they in execution? You definitely need to memorize this. It goes without saying. And I'm talking about the knowledge areas and the processes. The 49 processes, you need to memorize them, okay? And then ITTOs, just every process, you need to know what's the purpose of the process. What does it do, okay? Now, there are some ITTOs, you need to know them by heart, like the ITTOs of the develop project charter process. This is very important, okay? You need to know all the inputs, tools, and outputs. So not all the same, they're not all important. I mean, and how do you know that? Well, you need, I mean, it's documented if you watch videos of people or read what are the important, or you can just Google what are the most important processes in the PMBOK. And then go tackle those and make sure you know the ITTOs by heart, because there are questions usually on the project charter, okay? You would need to know what are the business documents, what is the business case, what is the benefits, and you need to know what is the project charter, everything, every little thing about the project charter, okay? So there are ITTOs that you need to know by heart, okay? So you have to be selective. Find out what those are and make sure you you know them by heart. Okay. Any questions so far?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you say situation question?
Your voice is cutting off. I can't hear you. I can't hear clearly.
Hello.
I can hear you, but it's cutting off. I can't hear you clearly. Again, please. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, better now.
Okay, so can you share some tip to answer for situational question?
For what questions?
Situational.
Situational.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what? They keep telling you, you need to know agile is a mindset, agile is a mindset, agile is a mindset. And I realized, I mean, I knew what that means, but it was cemented, and I realized that they mean what they're talking about. And it means that sometimes there are things, you know, you don't come across in the books you study. It's just the mindset. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, no matter what question is, you need to understand that customer is very important. Involvement of the customer is very important. So in situation questions, you need to analyze, you'll be able to analyze and interpret the situation. So again, what I found, my experience in the exam, you know, it's not so much, it's not those who know more information that who will pass. You get me? So it's not important that you know every little word in the PMBOK and in the agile and all the frameworks. This is not the people. Okay, they may pass, but that's not the. Okay, I have less than 1 minute and then it'll expire. So let me stop it here, and then I'll share a link with you immediately. Okay, because we're running out of time. Bye for a minute. Bye.
Bye. We are waiting for the link.
Okay.